بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Thank you all for coming today. We'll just keep it inshallah short and simple. Today inshallah we will talk about the program learning outcomes assessment cycle 3 starting from this year until 2025. So today we will discuss a few things about what are the rules of the PLOS assessment committee, what is actually the PLOS assessment, how are we going to conduct the assessment, and of course we will talk about the groups formed by the head of departments and also the coordinators of the accreditation units. As you see, the rules, as all of you have received the qarar from Dr. Muhammad. First of all, our main responsibility is designing a learning outcomes assessment plan for all college programs for the third cycle, which consists 4 years from the academic year, as I said, this year until 2024-2025. Also, we will be preparing the evaluation plan on the basis of direct and indirect assessment. We will be talking about this briefly, inshallah, in the next slides. Also, one of the main important rules here, forming learning outcomes assessment groups. And alhamdulillah, we already did that. Also, we will be monitoring the learning outcomes assessment alongside the 4 years, the upcoming 4 years for all programs here in the college, IS and CS. We will make sure about data collection, evaluation, reporting, and implementation of the improvement. We have to make sure that the evaluation cycle is closed. For example, the identified deficiencies and the problems from the previous cycle that we are going to address in the next cycle, inshallah. One important thing is that we have to be careful about the new plans, the updated plans, whether from the IS or CS. Of course, it hasn't been started for the CS. We're still waiting for the approval, but we will have to keep it in our mind. We will also have to maintain and archive all the documentation related to the learning outcome assessment for all the college programs. Please, if you have any questions or any suggestion, please interrupt me anytime. What's the PLOS assessment? As you all know, program learning outcome assessment uses mainly here specifically for our assessment, the direct and indirect evaluation for the knowledge, skills, and values that students should be able to articulate or utilize after the completion of their degree. How are we going to conduct the PLOS assessment? So I have made a list with Dr. Akram and Dr. Ghassan, thankfully. First of all, forming our program groups based on the PLOs. And then we will use the previous cycle, which is 2017 to 2021. We'll be using the plans and the reports to guide us and help us to write some recommendation for the cycle 3, so we can make sure that all of these recommendations are implemented, inshallah, in the current cycle, which will be 4 years, inshallah. And that's exactly what I mean by closing the loop. We will have, after that, a plan for the next 4 years, PLOS assessment, starting from this year till 2025, by using the direct assessment and the indirect assessment. What we mean by the direct assessment is using the CLO's achievement. This is the first one. We will be also using the KPIs and rubrics and the exit exam. And this is a new measurement and criteria for the direct assessment we will be, inshallah, implementing starting from this semester. The indirect will be using exit exam. current student survey, and also the advisory board survey. Why we are doing this? Because this plan have been implemented for the previous probably 2 cycles, so we shouldn't be doing something completely different. After that, we should conduct based on the your PLO's assessment plan. After everything is ready, you have met your groups, then we should start conducting this assessment. As a committee, all of us are responsible for follow-up every semester with the things that we are planning to assess and measure until we finish the 4th year. CS and IS coordinators of the program accreditation units will be responsible to explain to the head of groups how to execute the plans, and hopefully Dr. Akram and Dr. Ghassan will be meeting with their relevant groups. I'm assuming that group 1 today to explain to them briefly how to conduct the direct and indirect assessment. Is there any question about this? Do you have any suggestion, or do you think it's clear and enough?
It's clear from my side. I think I got the point. I had a meeting yesterday with Dr. Ghassan and we discussed all these things together. Just one question, Dr. Yousef, for the like the strategic or the, yeah, maybe that's will answer my question, the second slide.
Yes.
If they can briefly explain it to us, so we will
Definitely.
be on the same boat, so we know what's going on here. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. First of all, we should be aware of our PLOs first for each program. The PLOs for the CS, you can see in the first table in the top, and for IS program learning outcomes, you can see in the bottom. As you all see, there are some differences here, whether it's about the skills or the knowledge or the values. So we should be aware that we are working together, but at the same time, you should be aware that there are some differences here. Not to mention, the IS has implemented already the new study plan, so they should be careful when they are thinking about the recommendations from the previous semesters or the previous cycle. For how long, Dr. Mana, the new study plan has been implemented?
Right now we are almost in the 9th level, I believe. So
is it almost 4 years?
Almost, and we need only 1 semester to complete the cycle.
Perfect. So we should also consider the previous cycle. So we should be aware of the, as I said, the recommendations on all the things that we have learned from the previous cycle. So we should make sure that we are implementing this in the current cycle. One important thing also is while we are making our assessment or our plans for the next cycle, for the current cycle, is to consider the action plans that we have made as a response to the NCAA recommendations. And I'm very sure Dr. Mana and Dr. Hanan, Dr. Ghassan, Dr. Muhammad, Akram have received the official response yesterday from NCAA. And they have used 2 different terms here. They are using the recommendations, which we receive, we already received from the committee. And we have to keep it in mind that we have to implement all of these recommendations based on the action plans we have made. And the other thing, the NCAA have made some conditions based on those recommendations. So it's actually a summary of the recommendations. So we have to keep in mind how we are going to address those recommendations based on those conditions. We have to keep that in our mind. Of course, there are so many things that are not going to be directly assessed based on the PLOs, but we have to keep it in our mind when we are planning and assessing. Okay, I'm not going to go over all these factors or knowledge and skills and values, but I'm very sure everyone should be at least familiarizing themselves about these criteria. Okay, now we are thinking about the timeline for actually planning for our PLOS assessment. If we are taking the CS and IS, they're pretty much the same. So we're thinking about the direct assessment here and the indirect assessment. So we're talking about the direct CLOs, which we can observe from the course reports, and we can think about also the KPIs and the exit exam as well for the direct assessment. For the exit survey and current survey, student survey, and the advisory survey will be for the indirect assessment. So thinking about each one of these outcomes, if we take, for example, K1, Knowledge 1, considering this semester, which is first semester, 2021, 2022, we're going to collect the data. The C is meant to be for collecting the data, I implementing. And the E, I think I'm assuming it's measuring or evaluating. So it's for evaluating. So we're going to collect the data this semester and evaluate for the CLOs and for the first knowledge, which is the ability to apply knowledge of computing and mathematics appropriate to the discipline. So when we are thinking about the KPIs, there is nothing we can do about it this semester. So we're thinking about this as well for the exam, exit exam. We're going to assess knowledge 2, collect data, evaluate, and next semester we're going to implement this. I'm not quite sure. That's why I asked question here. Are we including the skills and values for the exit exam? We have been discussing this with Dr. Akram and Dr. Ghassan, and I think they should be included, but we will hear from all of you so we can decide about that. And this is also going to be the same for the other criteria and assessment for the indirect assessment. Hopefully this is clear from now, Dr. Mana, and hopefully this is the things that you are asking for. The same thing are going to be for the IS until we finish 4 years, starting from this year, inshallah, this semester. So we have to be careful about thinking about these things that are still in this semester. Like, for example, K1 and S4, we have to collect data, evaluate, and make sure that anything that we learn from, we implement it in the next semester. So, of course, there are so many groups in the PLO's assessment, but we're not going to use all of these groups this semester, but alongside the next semesters or next years, we will be using them to make sure that everything is planned and measured at the same time. It's very important that we make sure that those people who are working on these groups are the same groups for the next 4 years. It's very important because they will be having the data and the way of measuring, and maybe some recommendations and things they could and should be aware of as well. So this is also for the IS, as I said. Hopefully it's clear. Inshallah, the coordinators of the accreditation program accreditation units will discuss this in details with these certain relevant groups. As I said, the groups here, group 1, Dr. Anwar, Dr. Akram, Dr. Hani, Dr. Adil, and Dr. Muhammad Shehri as the heads of these groups, and of course with their members. For the first group, they will be assessing knowledge 1 and skill skills number 4, and so on for each group. They will be having some certain outcomes to measure and to plan how they are going to measure it, inshallah. For the IS, I have the updated list. Dr. Fikri, Dr. Samar, Dr. Asadullah, Dr. Yahya, and Dr. Maymoon with their members, and the same thing with their PLOs. We're seeing here SO, which means student outcomes. This is another way of implementing the NCAA program learning outcomes. This is just has been taken from the ABIT standard there, that they're using student outcome, but it means the same thing actually. So that's all from my side. Hopefully this is a little bit helpful for everyone to just know what we're doing and how we are going to work on this. If you have any question or any discussion specifically about the skills and values for the exit exam, I'm very happy to answer if I have any question, answer for that. Is this clear, Dr. Mane?
Yeah, it's clear on my side, and I think there is a lot to be done by the head of groups and coordinator of the quality to explain exactly what the members have to do, and for sure we will be there to help. So I think they're right now this is the start point. So the coordinator of the quality will start explaining to each head of the group what they have to do, how do they collect the data, how do they deal with all these requirements. That's my understanding.
Yes, and it's a very long-term goal that we have to think about, and planning. As we're just discussing this with Dr. Akram about planning to print this and put it somewhere in your office so you can see and remind yourself and remind the head of groups and also the coordinators. It's very important we keep in mind that we are measuring everything per semester and come up with a report and plan, assessment, everything in a semester based. So it's very important. It's a very long task we'll be having to think about for the next 4 years, inshallah. Any ideas or suggestions? We were just talking about the skills and value. They are not included in this assessment or timeline. So I believe should be included, the skills and values. So of course it's a theory exam, but how really we can incorporate the lab skills to this, it's a question for all of us to think about. Okay, Dr. Akram, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Dr. Yousef, for your brief and complete presentation. Regarding the exit exam, logically, if we think that we should also evaluate all the PLOs from skills and values also, because this exit exam is not based only, I think, on knowledge, but we have exit exam committee. If the committee see the other universities, how they are conducting their exams, and their recommendation will be very important. To decide this, we include skills or values. So, because still, I think it's not clear enough that how will be the exit exam. We are going to conduct only multiple choice question, or theory question will be there. So I think because we in this semester we are just going to assess K2, and K2 is knowledge. So if after this exit exam, next semester the situation will be more clear, so then we can update this our assessment timeline based on the recommendation of exit exam committee.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Akram. I really agree with you. It's still not clear how we can conduct the exit exam. We're just going to start this semester by doing the exit exam in a very basic and simple way, considering that some students are not fully prepared for this. So this is just one of the factors that are affecting the way we are forming the exam. So we could think about this question. Of course, we have a plan of discussing this issue with any other university, for example, King Abdulaziz University. I have talked to one of their vice deans, the Computer Science and Information Technology College. So they are willing to help us in this, but as you all know, we don't still have enough time to completely change our plan that we have made maybe 1 month ago. So of course, we have to think about the skills and values and how we can incorporate this in our exit exam. It's very important. We don't have a standardized test like any medical field, but we still can make our own exit exam and enhance the exam each semester. We're not supposed to be perfect from the first time. I totally agree with that. So any ideas, any suggestions?
Also, Dr. Yousef, we had discussion yesterday with Dr. Ghassan about the exit exam. Actually, since you mentioned it, like right now, for example, in information system department, we have 2 plans. So the graduate right now are only from the old plan. So we are assessing actually the old plan that we are planning to close. So I discussed this with Dr. Ghassan yesterday. I'm planning to talk to the dean and the vice dean about this because right now, if we did the like exit exam for this semester, that will be measuring the old plan that we already planning to close. And also, most of the students that we are still having right now from the old plan, they came actually from the community college. So some of the courses that we are having in our plan, we actually didn't teach them that courses. They were like transfer students, so they get the transfer credit from the community college. So this is another issue that we decided yesterday that we will raise this concern to the top management in order to discuss this with the vice rector about the ability to postpone the exit exam for the IS department because we don't have any like graduate from the current plan, the updated one. We cannot do it until like next year, the second semester. And we will raise this issue because, you know, right now we are assessing actually probably like 12 students, and most of them, I would say 80% of them, the first 2 years actually they got the transfer of their credits from the community college. So we didn't know about their quality teaching, without about their like knowledge at that specific courses.
Wallah, Dr. Mana, this is a very important issue, and as you said, you can discuss it with the top management about this, but my assumption is those students are going to be graduating from your program, from the IS, from our program, IS program. So as you said, those students are coming from the community college, but still they have the courses they have taken in the community college. They have an equivalent courses in your program. That means they have met all the requirements. So in this case, we are not talking about the course level here. We're not examining them based on the courses. We are examining them based on the program outcomes, thinking about all of these outcomes. And I see, and I know that some questions in our exit exam have been written in a way it's like a midterm exam or final exam, and this is not true. This shouldn't be the way that we design our exit exam. We should be examining the whole general concepts of the outcomes that they should be acquiring by the end of their last semester. But it's a very long process. We have to think about it and how we are going to enhance our exam, exit exam. But at this moment, we just this is my idea, to just keep it simple as possible, very basic. We know that those students who are graduating or expected to graduate this semester are not fully prepared for this. They don't have the time to prepare for that. So that's my suggestion. Don't make it very complicated. Just you can try. And it's just a suggestion, Dr. Mana. I know you have your own committee to think about that as well. Okay. Do we have any other suggestion or any topic that's related to the PLOs or exit exam or anything that would lead to our PLOs assessment? Okay, I think that's pretty much all for today. If you have any questions, suggestions, please. Dr. Akram, go ahead, please.
Yes, Dr. Yousef, because this semester we are going to assess K1 and S4 for direct assessment, CLO achievement, and for indirect assessment, current student survey. Today I had meeting with the CS group number 1, and I explained that how you have to do this, what are the direct assessment, indirect assessment in detail I have explained for the CS group. So I think for IS group also, Dr. Vassan have to explain, because after the vacation, we have only 1 week, and the assessment group, they have to contact with the course instructor, they have to prepare the assessment plan. So it is very important to explain them. I have recorded our meeting, so I will send the link, and if may be helpful for IS group number 1 also.
That's perfect. This is a very nice way of documenting our work. And I'm very sure, Dr. Mana, do you have a Blackboard section for quality work? So every time we exchange links or videos, you can upload them there. We can upload them in our section as well. So we can share all of these videos with others who are not able to attend those meetings, or they are, but at some point they will be working on these tasks, inshallah, in the future.
Inshallah, Dr. Ghassan will take care of this, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Dr. Akram, for informing us about this. It's very important. We are a little bit late, but inshallah we can manage to get things done, inshallah. Maybe after the week of students' break, inshallah. Any other ideas, suggestions, or questions? Okay, I think that's all. Thank you so much for coming today, and hope you all have a nice holiday. And I'm very sure it's only for students, but informally we're saying this. Thank you so much, all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Shukran. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much all.
Thank you, Dr. Ali.